This theory in the Chosen One series that I've been creating is probably got to be the favorite out of them all. And it's not even the final character yet. Stage 01. What looks to apparently be a Fredbear and Friends Family Diner location, one that we probably may not have ever seen before. And taking a look at this Golden Freddy-like bear or anything like that, well, first off, how do we know that it's actually Golden Freddy? I mean, sure, it looks exactly like Golden Freddy. I mean, it could possibly be an unwithered Golden Freddy. That's a possibility. But a lot of people also say that it's actually Fredbear because due to the fact that, you know, it's Fredbear and Spring Bonnie. And funny enough, in the Ultimate Guide, in page 269, it apparently says that Fredbear takes the appearance in FNAF 2 mention, or FNAF 2 I think that's what they meant to say, Five Nights at Freddy's 3 minigame, as we all know right now, that's what we're doing, FNAF 4 plush minigame, and the Ultimate Custom Night, and also the Silver Eyes mention, and the New Kid. I don't understand how the heck the New Kid came into appearance. That's one of the Fazbear Frights books. And from what I remember, that was actually a Golden Freddy suit, not a Fredbear suit. I mean, then again, Fredbear and Golden Freddy are technically the same character, they're just basically a different model being created year after year. But that's the thing that kind of always got me a bit unhinged with the character, especially this Golden Bear animatronic in Stage 1 minigame. I mean, take a look at his pixelated appearance. I mean, it looks good as it is. I mean, the whole golden fur and everything, we get it. But only one problem. The hat and the bow tie are a different color. If you look specifically at the bow tie on Fredbear, it actually looks brown. Fredbear's original color in the games in Ultimate Custom Night was actually a purple hat and a purple bow tie. Meanwhile, we get to see this Fredbear over here, and this has a brown hat and a brown bow tie, which does not make any sense whatsoever. I don't understand what the heck the concept was for that. Also, by the way, if you didn't notice, also in the Silver Eyes trilogy novels, if you got the graphic ones, they also have, apparently, Fredbear in it, but he also looks different as well, apparently, because he is wearing a black hat and a black bow tie. Technically, that's somewhat to like what Golden Freddy would technically wear. I mean, I get it, but they should have probably changed the color or something. I don't know, it's a bit complicated there. Can't they just like stick to one color? I mean, it should be basically purple. Not freaking black or, you know, brown. So that's when it came to my own conclusion that I wanted to take a different perspective. Instead of saying that this character right over here is actually Fredbear, I was kind of going with a Spring Freddy, actually. So throughout the rest of this video, I'm calling this animatronic a Spring Freddy, okay? So we're calling this Spring Freddy. And by the way, I'm actually a very big fan of Spring Freddy, by the way. Look, I've always wondered to myself, if Steelwool or Scott Cawthon were going to have any chances of making a Fredbear and Friends Family Diner game, it was going to be also not just Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, but also a Spring Freddy. And this pixel right over here kind of proves it, really. By the way, if you actually looked at this video, which was the first video I made on this channel, I talked about something about like this similar back in the day. I feel like that the clothing for that Spring Freddy specifically would make much more sense rather than having it like just be Fredbear, because they don't match. It's a bit silly how they decided to just go with that kind of perspective and just think, oh hey, we're just going to use this bear animatronic and make it like exactly like Fredbear. Dude, that looks nothing like Fredbear. This is why I say that it's better to call it as Spring Freddy. By the way, also, if you haven't noticed, that there's also a specific minigame in FNAF World that is actually related to Stage 01, by the way. This one right here. I'm not going to go into too much details about this one, but this is exactly what it actually looks like. Now, the reason why I say that this is actually going to be my favorite 3 out of all of them is because there's a lot to handle, especially when it comes to the location and also where the heck it is. Is there actually going to be other animatronics in Fredbear's Friends Family Diners apart from the main 2, Fredbear and Spring Bonnie? And I felt like that Spring Freddy definitely makes the cut. I also made a video specifically back in the day where I thought that there's got to be other animatronics aside from those 2. in this video right here. Take a look at this. This was actually a poster that I kind of made on SFM years back to say, like, this is what the Fredbear and Friends Family Diner gang would look like. And I'm pretty sure you would probably agree. I mean, you probably noticed that the models kind of look similar to, like, some of the fan-made Five Nights at Freddy's games, or in this case, Fredbear fan games. If you have seen any of those, like, I don't know, Fredbear and Friends Spring Locked, Fredbear and Friends Family Diner, or The Return to Bloody Nights. That one is terrifying. I haven't played it, but some say that they have struggled and they kind of get panic attacks. So yeah, so basically, in other words, golden animatronics galore, and that's something that I would love to see. We don't get to see that many golden animatronics so often in one location, and that's the best thing. Speaking of which, I also want to go through the Fredbear and Friends Family Diner posters also, because I was thinking to myself back at the time, take a look at this very first one over here, Fredbear's Singing Show. And every time when you see this thing, it always says Freddy instead of saying Fredbear, because we obviously know that Fredbear is the main character, not Freddy. Why on earth would they call it Freddy? Is it because that they actually have a Spring Freddy involved? Because let's think about this very quickly, because I would like to say that maybe Spring Freddy perhaps was the first Freddy before Freddy Fazbear's. Just like how Spring Bonnie was the first Bonnie animatronic before the original Bonnie came into Fazbear Entertainment and collabed with Fredbear and Friends Family Diner. Everyone says that Fredbear is basically just another Freddy, and that's what kind of drives me nuts, because Fredbear is kind of its own character. Aside from the fact that, you know, Fredbear is Golden Freddy, as I said before, because, you know, due to the amount of, you know, its model been changed over the years and it has been upgraded, that makes sense, but Golden Freddy and Fredbear are the same character. They're not just some regular Freddy archetype. They're basically the same model, just been upgraded after all these years. Of course, the souls inside Fredbear / Golden Freddy are completely two different characters. The bite victim, which I call Sammy, which, by the way, I'm going to be doing a really big theory about that one sooner or later, so get prepared for it. And of course, Cassidy, the vengeful spirit. Now, back to the Fredbear poster as I was just saying. The Fredbear Singing Show one, why on earth would they call that, you know, Freddy, when it's basically Fredbear? And technically, they do have, like, you know, singing bears actual sing. Probably not actually singing, but you get the idea. Pat did say something about that before, in his Ultimate Timeline back in the day, so it does make sense. I can see that happening, I guess, so I'm not going to complain there. But looking at it, I feel like it makes sense that this Spring Freddy could be exactly like this Freddy over here in the poster. Like, I can literally just draw that and just, like, quickly draw it and just use the colors that it has exactly in this sprite over here. Watch. There, I've done it. Easy. Too easy for ya. Easy claps. And the same thing with this other Fredbear poster right here, where he's, like, you know, making a call on the phone or something like that. And also, you notice that in this one, that has brown fur and a black hat and black bow tie. I mean, what the heck? What's going on here? Shouldn't that technically be, you know, Fredbear instead of Freddy Fazbear? Because that looks like more Freddy Fazbear than Fredbear. Come on. I mean, I would like to say that that's Spring Freddy, but the color of that and the shading of it too is just... that's more Freddy Fazbear, let's be real. And this was something that I was kind of disappointed with. It just didn't really... I wasn't really happy with that. I mean, I thought they would, like, straight up do, like, you know, golden fur, purple hat, purple bow tie, or at least if they're just gonna do, like, a Freddy, then guess what? Why don't you just use this pixelate and just use the art for the Spring Freddy or something? Make it look like Spring Freddy instead. It makes so much sense. Yeah, I mean, I could probably also do that as well. Like, I could just trace that over and then just change the color. Boom, there you go, done, again. But you do get what I mean, right? I mean, it makes more sense that this sprite over here isn't considered to be a Fredbear, but more of a Spring Freddy animatronic instead. Now also let's talk about the location itself. So first off, where the heck do you think this location is going to be? Well, by the looks of things, everyone keeps saying that the theory is that Fredbear Friends Spring Family Diner is literally the exact same location as Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, and also which is then built on top thanks to the Pizzaplex of Security Breach, because we get to go underground from the elevator in the Burn Trap ending, along with the same thing for Security Breach Room where we faced against the Mimic, because it's the exact same place. So I had a bit of a look around to see, like, does it actually look exactly the same? And for standard point of view, even if it's pixelated, like, the whole room itself on stage 01, I mean, it kind of looks like, you see that the floor is like all brown and stuff, the walls are also brown. It's pretty obvious, like, you can obviously tell that it's all just brown all over the place, like, nothing special. It's probably made out of wood, which is exactly what it looks like in the Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator when you actually start off making to customize your own pizzeria. And frankly, I feel like that's exactly what it's trying to show us. And I think, like, that makes a lot of sense too, because why wouldn't it be Fredbear Family Diner? If this was exactly what Fredbear and Friends Family Diner did actually look like way back, which was probably like more like 1983, or like actually even further back then, 1980, before the bite of 83 actually happened, then I would definitely agree that, hey, this is actually Fredbear and Friends Family Diner. When you see all the wooden tables, all the wooden chairs, the wooden floors, the wooden walls, all of it seems to signify that this is 100% Fredbear and Friends Family Diner before you start upgrading it for Pizzeria Simulator. And yeah, I feel like that makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, but by the way, in FNAF Help 1 and 2, and this is just for extra, that we are in exactly the same place, just like in Security Breach Ruin and the original Security Breach. It says it written all over on it. I mean, you can't say no to that. This whole time that Fredbear and Friends Family Diner has been upgraded multiple times in the exact same spot, in the exact same place, just so that we can get some more victims in. And that's crazy. Like, it's absolutely phenomenal how bizarre this whole thing can basically come to full circle. And that's what I kind of actually like about stuff like this, is that's how it usually just brings. They just build it up, but they don't even reveal any secrets. They just think it's a good idea to put it on top, yet we're the ones who are basically uncovering the truth about everything. It's insane. And as much as I can actually ramble on about it, let's just finally make it through to who exactly is Spring Freddy actually saving? Well, in this case, it wouldn't make any big surprise that to me that this child that Spring Freddy is trying to save in this minigame here is specifically Freddy Fazbear himself, which basically is Gabriel. Gabriel is the soul of Freddy Fazbear himself, the main attraction of Freddy Fazbear Entertainment. And I feel like the reason why that Spring Freddy would definitely save Gabriel is because it's all about, well, first off, Spring Freddy is not a leader in Fredbear. Fredbear is, but it does kind of feel like, you know, whenever if you want, I feel like it's preparing them to be a leader. Pretty sure you know the song, Mr. Fazbear, right? I mean, that kind of tells that, you know, Freddy Fazbear himself is the leader, of course. I mean, Golden Freddy is more like the real leader, but for, like, Freddy Fazbear alone, he's, like, the main leader overall. He's just, like, a main leader. He's the one who leads the whole group into order. As for Golden Freddy, it's a bit different, I guess. But you could say that the original Freddy Fazbear is the main leader, which I feel like that's what's trying to symbolize between Spring Freddy and Freddy Fazbear, is that, first off, Spring Freddy may not be the real leader, but he does seem like to be someone that he could possibly, you know, leave the, like, handing over the torch to Gabriel as Freddy Fazbear. And I feel like that's actually a really important thing, because this is what Gabriel's been having all this thing for the 5 of them for so long. It's hard for them to bear with. And no pun intended, okay? No pun intended. I did not mean to say that, okay? But still, in all seriousness, it kind of makes sense, and it kind of makes the morality of it is pretty tough. And for him to be the main leader, to be just stuck in there and try to, everyone just follow his lead, it's kind of heartbreaking, but makes sense. And thankfully, at least, that the original four, and probably perhaps Cassidy, have finally met peace finally after in FNAF Help Wanted 2, actually. Which I won't go into that too much. That'll be probably for a future video. But yeah, I feel like that's the whole point. I feel like that this animatronic here is actually Spring Freddy, not Fredbear, because the difference and the amount of times they have to swap the models just doesn't make any sense. So it makes sense that it's Spring Freddy who's actually helping out Gabriel, who then takes on the soul as Freddy Fazbear himself. So what do you think? What do you think about this theory? I feel like this was a really good one, especially with everything that's been going on. This is like the very crucial part. Of course, we got one more theory left, but let me also tell me in the comments below, who do you think is that really? Do you think it's still Fredbear? Do you think that that's actually a Spring Freddy, just like how I think it is? Do you think that this Spring Freddy is saving Gabriel, which is Freddy Fazbear? And what do you think of the location of Stager 1 itself? Do you actually think that it is the actual Fredbear Friends Family Diner and is been used for the exact same place to use for the Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, which is then built on top of thanks to Security Breach and Security Breach Ruin and Help Wanted 2, if you put it that way? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much. If you haven't watched any of these theories yet, please go ahead and watch them before you watch this very last video we're going to do based on Shadow Bonnie.